A few days ago, Sean Diddy Combs popped up on Twitter and he popped up with the eye emoji. Now, when he did that, automatically critics believe that he was hinting on something. But what many thought that what he was hinting on had to do with Ghislaine Maxwell. However, I believe today we're getting some insight of what Diddy could have been hinting at or might have been hinting at the time, because now his legal team, they have filed for a motion for his bail, and Judge Arun Subramania is giving the prosecutors until Thursday to respond to this motion. So now now we're hearing this, it kind of makes sense, and you have to wonder who is behind the scenes promising Diddy, okay, go ahead, apply for bail again, and we're going to see to it that you're let out on bail this time before your sentencing. I don't know who is filling his head with that kind of stuff, because if he thinks that he's going to get out on bail, I don't think so. Absolutely not. If he didn't get let out on bail before his trial, after his trial that prove that he's capable of being a monster, do you think they're going to let him out on bail after his trial? Absolutely not. Because remember, before his trial, everything, all the charges against him were allegedly, even though they were only able to prove 2 out of 5. At this point in time, they can say solidly and no longer allegedly. And as such, he's not going to get out on bail. But, his legal team, as we know, that is spearheaded by Mark Agnifilo and Tenny Gregos, they just sent in a new bail package proposal over to Judge Arun Subramania, rattling off a list of reasons as to why they believe Sean Diddy Combs should be released from jail before his October 3rd sentencing. Now, in the documents, his legal team, what they're arguing is that most people who have been convicted on the Mann Act charges, are released from jail before sentencing. So what they're saying is that Diddy, because remember, it was just a few weeks ago, immediately after his trial, Judge Arun Subramania had asked Diddy's legal team as well as federal prosecutors to find cases with the commonality of Sean Diddy Combs' allegations and the charges that he was found guilty on, because they wanted to establish some kind of commonality in order to have a guideline on how to sentence Diddy. So what Diddy's legal team, they're doing, because I believe that they have found the cases, and I believe that they're also using this commonality to push for his bail release. They're saying, other folks who were convicted on the Mann Act charges, they were let out on bail before their sentencing, and as such, Sean Diddy Combs should be given the very same opportunity. But the reason why Diddy is not going to get the same opportunity is because the scenarios are different. Sean Diddy Combs' scenario is a orchestrated takedown. Diddy was out of line, and this is his punishment from his handlers. And if his handlers have been able to orchestrate everything so far, including him getting denied bail on numerous instances when it was all allegedly, I believe that his legal team will not be able to get him out on bail successfully, because it's no longer allegedly, but actually you've been found guilty on 2 Mann Act counts. So the allegedly no longer stands in play, but for surety is now there. So when the allegedly was there, he wasn't going to get out on bail. And now that the surety is there, he's worse not going to get out on bail. But guys, I want to hear from you though. What's your 2 cents on the matter? Because, his legal team, they're saying that a lot has changed in terms of society's view on sex since the Mann Act was passed 115 years ago in June 1910, and they claim that Diddy never had sex with the guys he hired, only his ex-girlfriend did. Isn't that savagery? But I think it's worse because he basically manipulated these people. So what they're arguing here is that people's or societal views on sex, it has changed since then. It has changed, like hell yeah, it has changed. Men can no longer have their way as they please. So it has definitely changed, right? But what they're using here is they're saying, people are more open and more, accepting to, these, freaky or salacious type of acts, So they want to use that as an advantage, but I think that it's a bad idea to say a lot has changed when it comes to the view of sex since the Mann Act, because if we're going to argue that, we can argue it in both good and bad ways. And when you look at how much things have changed in order to protect people more. And we can argue that a lot more than how we can't. So while I understand his legal team's position, I'm like, are you sure you really want to go there? Because this is not going to get him out on bail though. Because the prosecutors can argue, yes, a lot of change in sex. No, you have to get permission, and if you don't get permission, you'll be held accountable. So I think his legal team, they need to be careful. And if the prosecution is determined to use that, to switch it against them, they'll be able to make a good argument in that sense. But anywho, guys, I want to hear from you. Do you think that Sean Diddy Combs will be let out on bail? Because it's definitely not going to happen. Because if he wasn't let out on allegedly, he's not going to be let out on surety. So leave a comment below while you're at it. Do all you need to do in this video to support your girl. Peace.